Hey, everybody, welcome to Pizza Time. I am Dakota with my co host here, Mario. Today we have
Hello.
Spencer on from
What's
Death
up?
Curse, and
Yes.
it's a beautiful day here. We are all enjoying some sunny weather. It seems might be a little too
Everywhere.
hot for Spencer, though. I hear it's 90 degrees up where you are.
Yeah. Sweating like a pig out here.
So you've been
So-
you've been really grinding and like working out. So this should help you, right? You just sweat a little
Yeah.
more today.
Exactly. I don't need the sauna suit that IG keeps advertising to me.
Dude, fuck that. That's like a plastic bag, right?
Yeah. Just a body condom to sweat all my water weight out.
Ugh.
Sounds miserable. I've been doing the bike at the gym, and that's really been making me sweat like crazy. So that's pretty fantastic. I also saw that you are 5 months sober today.
Yeah, it's I think
Congratulations.
technically yesterday I stopped on the first like a big nerd. It wasn't really like a New Year's resolution or anything. I was just kind of
Mhm.
fed up with myself kind of thing.
Little break.
And just a complete functioning alcoholic. Like
Mhm.
I don't know many people that were drinking like a 750 of Jack Daniels a day and just like going about their business. But
Yeah.
I was really bad.
Yeah, maybe
And I
maybe
like
like fucking Lemmy from Motorhead.
yeah.
That's all I could think of.
And this was all after I got my partying days out of me in like my teens and my early 20s. So I've just sort of been functioning like this for years.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I just kind of like got tired of like waking up every day tired and being perpetually sick and shit like that. And I'm a big dude already, so takes a lot out of me just existing. So
Yeah.
I finally gave it up and have never felt better. I'm not normally that kind of dude where I'm like, oh, you got to get healthy and all this shit, but I'm getting worse with it every day as I feel better and better. I'm like, everybody should be doing this. Go lift heavy shit. Like I look like a completely different person from 5 months ago. It's insane to me, and I'm like, everyone
Amazing.
should do this.
Amazing.
I've just
Yeah,
turned into a sober nut.
I like to think of Pizza Time as a sort of sober adjacent podcast, I guess.
Yeah, this is kind of AA vibes for sure.
Mario's been on the wagon for how long has it been? 4 years.
For
You
4
just had
years.
you just had your 4 year. I did a 18-month stint about a year and a half ago, and now I try to kind of moderate better than I used to. And
Definitely
yeah, I
helps.
mean, I think that like getting in shape, doing art projects. I mean, I see so many young people just, I don't know, wasting their time playing video games or just smoking a lot of weed or drinking and just going out and spending money. And I really, I mean, it's been said a million times, society doesn't help, but you got to kind of find that impetus to sort of start building something at some point. Um, I've been, I'll talk to like my younger brothers or anyone younger than me, and they'll just be like, you have talent, blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, no, I mean, I started painting when I was like your age. So like, I think people need to understand that time does pass. And as you said, you look different than you looked 5 months ago, and like, it really doesn't take that much time, but you need to like whatever that itch is in your brain, you should start doing it today.
Yeah, develop something. My
Yeah.
biggest thing is I tell people to find something constructive that's just for you, whether it's a creative thing or what, just doing something where you're actually you're taking something and building it up better than it was previous to you interacting with it. And if you're doing it solely for yourself, even if it's like some people have to start out like a half hour a week, some people can do like a half hour or an hour a day of it, but like if it's drawing, writing, whatever it is, you should find a little bit of time for your own fucking sanity
Mhm.
to start doing something. And for me, it was kind of a bunch of different stuff all at once. I decided to get sober right around the time we were fired from our comic book publisher. Our books basically got canceled, not because of anything political or anything like that. It was just like books aren't selling like they used to. that's the reality of business. But I sort of had a bunch of things go wrong all at once, and that was more than enough motivation for me to like, all right, I need to build my body back up, need to build my brain back up, got back into just like not even forcing myself to read, but just reading more again, consuming things that aren't just like film and TV, getting out and interacting with people again after years of that basically not being a thing, only having interaction online and shit like that.
Yeah.
It was weird as hell to just go to a movie set, even if it wasn't my first time being on a film set with like more than 5 people. It was strange just interacting with people regularly again, because I go to work and I come home and work on myself and my shit. Like I've been a hermit for years since before COVID and all of that. So I didn't really skip a beat until recently, and now I'm getting back out and doing things. So it's refreshing, but more people should do it. We need to kind of focus on getting back to like communities you can actually affect, and building shit up.
Yeah, how are we gonna give like there's no what's the word when like I guess community is fine, but like even my hometown and shit, when I'm there it feels like there's nothing really bringing like the people of the town together like at all anymore. Everybody's like going about their own thing, but there's nothing like that for everybody to like interact with each other. I feel like that's just so lacking. Like there's no somebody at the town hall has to think of something quick, because it's just kind of a bummer
Everything's
see.
plugged in. Like everything is online now. It's crazy. You have to like find these niche communities and things. Like I found Low Res purely just being a fan of his stuff and stumbling across him online years ago. And I don't think I even reached out to the dude until like a couple of years into watching his reviews and their comedy show Comfort Systems and stuff like that. But I'm glad I reached out to those dudes, because it's again finding those niche communities where people are just out actually doing shit and it's not all online. Like they have a huge presence online too, but it's nice to actually get together with like-minded people and actually make something tangible and not have it all be online all the time. But yeah, it's in every local community. There's like nothing for it anymore. You'll get one-off events here and there, but it's like we used to have like a thriving like writer community that would meet at a bunch of bars in like the tri-state area around here. That's not a thing anymore. Like I don't know what it is exactly that causes it, but I was just like praising Low Res on Instagram today about how he's fostering a little community of his own right now, and obviously there's other people responsible for bringing it all together and everything, but I know of it through him, so I credit him for all of the hard work. But we need more of that. We need people to start coming out of the woodwork and getting their good ideas out and on paper or on film or whatever it is,
and taking it to the streets. You know,
hell yeah. We got to get revolutionary again, guys.
Not this not all online, but actually getting people to leave all their comfort zones and fucking meet up somewhere and work together on something is you don't see it all the time. Or if you do, it's just like I was like going to the grocery store and saw they were filming like a fucking another like Chicago. That's all they do here is film like Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, Chicago Gang, whatever the fucking show is. That's all we have.
City of procedurals.
I swear to God, it's just like in Chicago. Like we have a fictional series about people dying in Chicago, and there's like 12 of them. And if you see like a film crew, that's always what they're filming. There's nothing else.
That's and I just walked, my bread and butter.
I just walked by them like, God damn, dude, like this is so lame, so boring.
You gotta cash in on that, Mario, and write a nice police procedural set in Chicago.
Oh, I can run coffees like a motherfucker, dude.
That's your in. Everybody get a foot in the door and get working. We'll all write one big Chicago procedural. It's all of them. It's the cops, the EMTs, the firefighters.
How about Chicago astronauts?
Oh shit!
How about that?
We're gonna get it off the ground.
Yeah, they only eat hot dogs and they're all fucking severe alcoholics, but they all have the same. They all just want to. They all want to go to space, and there's a launch pad on Navy Pier, and
the whole first season is just trying to fit into the astronaut outfit.
Yes, the whole first season is like there's a gang trying to to shoot all the astronauts.
MS-13 is trying to take out the launch.
Yeah, they're just trying to go to space, and they're just trying to bring their favorite kind of pizza to space, and yeah,
Deep Dish is finally out of this world.
No, dude, Deep Dish is hated on here.
No. Deep Dish Impact.
There you go.
Oh shit! Shut this down. We have to restart. That can't go online. Oh my god. That's the perfect kind of fat joke for me. Oh man.
So can you tell us anything about Baby Teeth?
Oh yeah. Maybe I should just worn the mask for the whole thing. It's a long story. That one spawned from I pitched a script to Bonfire Legend. I think technically they were still Cinestate at the time.
Okay.
Really graphic thing that I was like, if I make this a comic book, no one will read it. But people would be more apt to see like a movie. And I guess it's kind of like a horror action movie. It's way more ridiculous than what Baby Teeth is, but Baby Teeth was this one like throwaway fucked up character in that script that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
And when I pitched the script to them, I was like, realistically, like if we were completely boned, like the minimum amount of money we could do it for would be like probably around $200,000 to $250,000 because we'd need to like rent a warehouse and build a bunch of sets and shit, and I'd have to like bring contractor guys in for all that.
Yeah.
Still completely reasonable, and I thought it was like totally reasonable to pitch to these guys. They liked the idea and everything. It kept like moving up the ladder at Cinestate at the time. They got like weirdly like soft Me Too'd on some weird like assistant producer they hired or something. It was all really dumb, and it was like completely out of their control. So they just got like completely screwed on that, changed their name. They still seemed to like it. I didn't hear anything for a while, and then they just stopped responding altogether. So that script's just been like in limbo. They never bought it or anything, but nowhere else is going to make it, just from like the subject material, the content, how like the cruelty to women and everything in between. That's just not cool nowadays. It's super violent. The lead is a cop. The whole story is like comes across as super pro gun. Like I basically wrote like a right-wing power fantasy into a horror movie and was like, these guys will eat this shit up because that's their whole game. It's not like completely my vibe, but I was like, it was just the idea escaping out of me at the time. So it's like, I'm gonna write something so insane and over the top and then pitch it to these guys. They seemed to like it. It fizzled out. But the Baby Teeth character, I was like, oh, I could do something with some of these characters without like spoiling everything. The whole idea was like sort of like if Running Man was a snuff production. A lot of people would read the script and be like, oh, it's like you're writing a Manhunt movie. But that was like kind of the idea was like, what if a bunch of nutcases got the money and the I guess like production know-how to put together like a feature film that was actually a snuff film where they're actually murdering people in it. So it was this weird, ridiculous concept. And this cop is basically kidnapped and thrust into this movie production to play the lead role in the movie. They all dug it. Baby Teeth and a couple other characters are like maniacs that the lead comes up against throughout it.
Cool.
And I was just like, oh, I could do like the tryout tape prequel for this guy. So if there were this actual underground snuff ring, I had to think of like how this production company would source these insane people to do their murder and everything, like basically very clinically run through and be like, how would this like actually operate back in the 70s and 80s when the movie was set? How would these guys communicate? How would they, like, you know, trade tapes and things like that? And I had to work out all of that back end, and a Baby Teeth essentially became like his tryout tape for getting in with this bigger production. So it's kind of like he's making a private tape for a producer or a high ticket buyer kind of thing. So it's just a collection of home videos from a serial killer essentially. It's all
Cool.
super messed up stuff, all practical effects. I brought low res on board for that, as he's kind of like my right hand man within the framework of the film.
So you've been shooting some of this?
Yeah, we shot some test footage over the last like month, and some makeup tests and stuff like that. Nothing that was like set in stone for the movie, but could be used for little bits of it. So we have like 6 minutes of footage going off to the lab this week because everything's shot on film. So I don't have like
Damn.
dailies or anything like that. But
Damn.
6 minutes of footage going off to the lab this week. Hopefully it came out, because like a lot of this is like that's why we're doing these tests and everything on lighting, because I'm not going for like normal like cinematic lighting or anything like that. I want it to feel almost like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Michael Bay remake, that opening where it
Yeah.
just feels like clinical police footage. Like
Yeah.
I need it all to feel like you're watching something you're not supposed to be watching. And if it gets too like filmic and cinematic, it like immediately ruins that whole illusion, which is why I brought low res into. He's sort of like my demented right hand man that hasn't necessarily killed anyone on camera before, but he operates the camera for me and knows exactly the kind of shit we get up to within the confines of the film. Because I play Baby Teeth just out of sheer necessity and not having a budget, things like that.
Yeah.
Working around that, like the whole movie's being made for about $6,000 when it's all said and done. That's including like practical effects. It might be a little bit more with like feeding people and housing people and shit like that, but I'm lucky enough to
Yeah.
have my own place and a couple guest rooms that we normally put people up in. The main set is literally built in my basement, so I can shoot
Nice.
whenever I want to spend an hour putting makeup on my entire upper half of my body, because we had to cover all my tattoos and shit, get me as
Yeah.
far away from looking like myself as possible. And then, you
Yeah.
know, spending time getting into the mind of a serial killer basically has been real weird time. But yeah, it's just it's like serial killer home movies shot sort of like found footage on film. We did a bunch of work to make sure that all like makes sense as a found footage thing. I guess doing podcast talks about it and everything kind of diffuses all of that. But
Yeah.
we're not doing like an ARG or anything like that. I really just want to have it pop up in drive-in theaters, and then maybe a physical release down the road, which we're kind of tentatively have lined up with some guys right now. But
Word.
I wanted to get one out finally. And when I figured out I could do a movie for less than the overhead I spend on a comic usually, I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
why not?
we're gonna pull the trigger. We're gonna shoot it on film. I have everybody and their brother telling me not to shoot it on Super 8 and to move up to 16 millimeter,
Yeah.
which just motivates me more to shoot a whole movie on Super 8, because I'm just a
Yeah.
defiant idiot. But yeah, we're
Well,
doing it. I'm
do it how you
willing to
want to do
ask,
it.
willing to answer whatever questions I should say, but it's a weird one. There's not a lot to it that isn't just violence and horrible things.
Yeah. When are you and Dakota going to be working together?
That I have a meeting with Jeremy this weekend, Jeremobi, who you guys I'm sure will probably have on at some point. He's another great dude to talk to.
For sure.
We're supposed to have a meeting this weekend to start figuring that out. I'm hoping to do it this summer. This month is like slammed for me right now, but I'm sort of coordinating with the location we have right now, figuring out everything for that, just so there's no legal hiccups or anything the day of, and then we will go out there and shoot a very hilarious, campy slasher opening with Dakota and Corinne Tryon, the actor that Dakota will be making sweet love to.
Can't wait to see it. Is it a
Sweet
girl?
love.
Yeah,
It's a girl.
yeah, it's a real
Oh.
girl.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me.
Yeah, we're shooting a classic horny opening slasher scene, and that one right now, what we're on the fence about is I really want to shoot just that scene on 16 millimeter because it's kind of like a movie within a movie bit
Mhm.
for another project we're working on.
Okay.
That me and Jeremy are co-writing. We're trying to bully Low-Res into directing it, but he's also one of the lead characters in the movie, so kind of doesn't make sense to have him direct. We're talking to a couple directors for that one, but it's like it's a slasher movie for the dudes. And Dakota will be one of the first faces you see in the film. But we want to shoot it in 16 millimeter and then pull back into the actual movie that's all shot digitally for convenience sake and stuff. But that I can show a little piece of concept art from that right here.
Yeah,
But,
that's super cool.
That we got
really cool.
Like a full creature bodysuit and stuff. I've been prototyping part of the mask. I haven't
Oh,
worked
so
on it
cool.
in like a month or two, but it's got like
Dude,
a
that
posable
is some
jaw. It's built
Dude,
into a
that's
hockey
cool
mask.
as fuck.
This will be all painted up to look like bone, and then it gets like 30 layers of drippy latex and things like that. It's gonna be all weird hues of pink and stuff.
Holy shit.
If I get my way, there's gonna be like a bunch of ridiculous practical effects in it. Everybody has wild deaths. We cleared with Jeremy the place that we're going to be shooting the whole film on is down in Virginia, and we're going to be able to shoot guns on scene and everything. So we're planning a Scanners style head pop with a shotgun blast. So we're going to do like a big dummy head at the end and just fucking blow its head off. It's a comedy too, so it's like very ridiculous, fun time. It's all dudes. I think there's like 2 women in the cast right now. One of them's Corinne, and the other one is just like a walk-on joke. But it's literally just like a turbo masculine. It's like Stand By Me if Jason Voorhees showed up, and all the kids were now like 30-year-old idiots. Is probably the easiest way to describe it. But yeah,
sounds great.
Working on lots of stuff. But that all comes from like I basically got my start. That's how I got my foot in the door with Low-Res, is doing practical shit, and now I'm sort of directing things out of necessity. See what I can do on the side, because if I can bring in some more money on the side doing my own thing, I can reinvest that back into whatever Low-Res's next big project is, which I'm hoping I can convince him to co-write like a very serious horror movie with me that we're in early talks about, and I've been doing some ominous posting about, but that
would be amazing.
A ways out, and that's the one that I want you for as well. So
dude, I gotta get to the East Coast. Ain't nobody fucking doing shit over here except for
anytime, man. I told you you're welcome to come out and crash at my place and check it out for a bit, see how you like it.
I gotta travel soon.
But yeah, we're always doing things, and I'm always trying to peer pressure Low-Res into something.
You guys are going to work him to death.
Oh yeah, for sure. One of us will die. Me or him. It's a war of attrition. I think he's got like a nice Carpenter-esque jam under his belt. He's just waiting to pull it out, kind of thing. And I got a spooky little idea whether I write it or we co-write it or something. I really want him to direct it. I like just working with him as a director. No matter what I end up working on set with, I probably annoyed the shit out of him at the Omega Fish Corp set because this is acting that day, and I don't consider myself an actor at all. So I just kept pulling him aside and asking him questions all afternoon.
That's all right.
What type of a director is Low-Res? Is he hands-on, or is he letting people kind of do their own thing, or?
A little bit of both. He'll stay quiet for a while and like take things in early on in setup, but he's very regimented for the most part. Like definitely comes in with a plan and things, but when I was there as an actor, I stayed the hell out of his way. And as a practical effects tech, I'm like in his face, like, how the fuck are we shooting this? Like everything about it. So in that regard, when I was there as a technician, he's way more open about it. I think if you're there as an actor, he doesn't want you to exactly know everything. There's certain things he wants to surprise you with and things like that.
Mhm.
He gives you a lot of space to work. I only got, like, for my part, only a couple bits of like real like direction. Like he was never like, do this. It would be like, hey, maybe a little bit angrier. Like I went in there and was like, we'll start at like a 0 and we'll work our way up with how loud you want me to get. Cause I'm like, I come from like, I used to do vocals in a metalcore band. Like we can get real loud if we need to, kind of thing. And
Mhm.
I did like a couple takes very docile and like one note, and he was like, start ratcheting it up. And I think we got to like a 2 or a 3, and he was like, all right, that's it. And they had me like kicking chairs out from under me and shit, screaming at Ryan.
Damn.
I don't know what take he used, but we had a really good take where all of the extras and everything like turned their head. It was the first time where I got like really loud, and it gets like an organic reaction from everyone in the room. But he's a solid director, and he's, like I said, I really enjoy working with him. Granted, he's like the only dude I've worked with on serious projects, but I watch like tons of directors' commentaries and behind the scenes on movies, and I'm a big movie autist. So yeah, I've witnessed a lot of it, not just being directly there, but low res is very easy to work with. He understands, and I'm learning that like a lot of movie making is just like compromise and problem solving day of. And dude makes it work. Like I think I'm one of the few people that's seen like every cut of Mass State Lottery at this point. I
Lucky
enjoyed the
man.
movie in every cut. It looks great. There's been little tweaks along the way here and there that have been necessary, but he's been doing a fantastic job with it. I think the final cut that I've seen and it has been told it's the final cut is a solid movie and a crazy first outing for anyone, let alone that dude. Which is why I'm excited for more from him. When I was like, why I was down to act in this new one, I was like, I don't care, dude. Whatever it is, I'll get down on it. And I wasn't even like asking for a part. He came to me, but I think that's a testament to just how solid a director he is, and how it's fun to work with the dude. Like you have a good time, even though it does feel like work. Like after you're on set for fucking 6 hours and everything that can go wrong does go wrong, it definitely feels like work, but
Mhm.
it's still a good time. I have a shitload of respect for the dude. I consider him a good friend now, and will be hopefully working on his projects for the entirety of my life at this point. If he keeps doing movies, I will find a way to be involved in them.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see Mass State Lottery. He's really kept us all on the edge of our seats waiting for that. So that'll be very cool when that comes out.
Behind the scenes, I've been like, fuck it, man, just drop it for like a year.
Yeah,
Dead
yeah.
drop that shit. I think it's going well now. I can't say anything. Obviously, it's not my movie or anything, but from what I've been hearing behind the scenes, we're closer than ever to it finally being here. And there's been traction building behind the scenes constantly. There's a lot of important people that have been wanting to see it and things like that, which is always a good sign. But people like that are also way up their own ass and really stingy with money and pulling the trigger on things, which is why
Yeah.
we're all here in the first place. But yeah, I think at last I heard it was going very well, and it's just going to be a matter of like where he wants it to end up in the end, which is I'm sure a complicated thing to decide on. I mean, he did
Yeah.
the hard part, but it's still a lot of work and everything doing all that, and then the like wondering if you're going to hold out for festivals or what. They sort of landed in that weird window where they had like a week's cutoff to pitch to festivals, or they had to wait until next year, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's weird, and like the corporate side of film always like adds a bunch of bureaucracy and red tape to things that slows everything down.
Totally.
Which is why I'm trying to get him to do something completely off the map. I'm like, let's go do some fucking horror where no one can tell us what the fuck to do and tell us that we're wrong or anything like that until the
Yes.
movie's already done and we're ready to put it out there.
Yes, let's head to the woods.
Yeah. You got to get that the Roger Corman vibe back from like the 60s and 70s when everybody was like, fuck it, why can't you make a movie for $5? Like
Yes. All the greats start in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely hard to like find money for stuff, you know. I've been self-producing a record for this year essentially. And yeah, I mean, I have no label involvement at this point, you know, and it's sort of like
dope.
I also just want to put it out. I'm just going to put it out because it's like there's a lot of good there. There's also a lot of stuff that I think reads as home recording, and I almost want to put that out just as sort of like a proof of concept to hopefully garner some money maybe in the future. But like, you know, it just seems it's a music industry or whatever, you know, it seems very predetermined by people behind the scenes, and that's sort of frustrating. You know, you kind of see bands that are, you know, you're probably just as good at, but you know, they know the right people, so they get to open for the bigger bands and then they kind of go on. But it's just like some of the political grandstanding always leaves a sort of bad taste in my mouth, and it's something I don't really want to do generally. So it's
that comes from all the management consolidating and shit like that too. Like there's very few like managers and management companies that aren't attached to like a giant fucking company now. So
yeah.
like a lot of those shows and everything, it's very incestuous in the booking and stuff like that. It's who your manager is, and it's not like the old days where your manager was like a guy that might actually be on your fucking tour bus with you for the tour and like actually taking care of you. Like you got to be real big for that shit now. And from what I know of most dudes that are like friends and stuff from back in the day when we were doing it, it's still the same that it was like 10, 12 years back, where everybody's making all of their money on merch. And now like I hear venues are taking merch cuts and shit like that. Like we used to like fist fight promoters over shit like that, not getting paid. Like so it's a weird thing for me, and like knowing what I do from doing it back in the local scene back in the day. If you're only gonna make money off of merch and shit like that when you're signed, that's pretty much all you make money off of when you're not signed too. So you might as well just stay unsigned and make all of your money and just focus the effort and the time into learning how to do that kind of stuff. Make your own merch and shit like that, print very small runs of physical releases and lean on that for your marketing. Like your fans are like, hey, we made 100 of this cassette or this vinyl or whatever, and when it's gone, it's fucking gone, and you have a piece of our history kind of thing. Like my band never had demos or anything. Our drummer got crazy into heroin like right before we were about to go into the studio and literally disappeared off the face of the earth for months. So
oh boy,
we didn't end up tracking anything because the most important dude wasn't there. Things kind of fell apart after that because we couldn't get a drummer that could really fill in for the guy we had.
That is
But
bad
yeah,
timing.
you get something under your belt and just put it out on your own. And now it's like, I'm not saying like you're gonna make millions of dollars off of streaming or anything, but you can make real tangible money in your own area and just selling your merch online and stuff like that. There's plenty of people out there that'll like your shit and want to support it when it comes across their path. It's just finding those people and putting your shit out there.
I want to get your guys. I want to get your guys' opinion on something about music. This thought that I had in the shower.
Go for it.
Okay, so hear me out. Hear me out. So like with licensing and people using your music to sell a product, that used to be pretty straightforward, right? So like if you were like a car company, if you were like Chevy and you wanted to use a song in your commercial and you were like, hey, here's 10 G's, that was it. It was pretty cut and dry. But nowadays, I was thinking about people using people's songs on like reels and TikToks that are like for their business. So like if you have like a ramen shop or something and like you're using say my song for a video where like you're trying to make your shop look like really like your ramen look really good and everybody's like having a good time and you're just using my song on like the Instagram reel, you're doing the same thing that like the car company used to like would have to pay for, you know, like you're getting the same exact benefit of the advertising, but you know, you don't have to ask the artist, you don't have to give them any money, and like you have your own mini commercial on your Instagram, but there's no trade-off like a straightforward licensing deal would have. So like
it's all tech being used to fuck us.
Right? Like shouldn't there be some sort of like if you're promoting a business, shouldn't you have to pay a little something to use this music to, you know, lift up your brand? Or if you're an influencer who's making a living off of this and you want to make your day look extra cool when you're like, you know, riding around and doing your bullshit, but you're going to use people's music and like not have to pay for it. Like
that'll be legislated real soon, I'm sure. Because that's
I would
kind of
hope
like
so.
it's sort of like the what's going on with the writers' strike and everything, where they're trying to claim that basically like technology ballooned up too fast and like, you know, we just haven't caught up with it, and that's why writers are getting paid dog shit and all of this stuff. Like we didn't figure out the streaming deal good enough the first time around, so
Yeah.
everybody's fucked because we just can't understand these computers.
I mean,
But yeah,
wasn't that the idea behind like Web3 was that like it was going to sort of transcend apps and that it would be easier to sort of find the source for the actual media uh
everything's
without
just
the
gonna
medium, you know?
it's
But
all gonna connect directly, and money'll flow all on its own, and everybody will get paid properly, and everything will be
mhm.
perfect. But that's not how shit operates because people are involved. That's the
Yeah, the
problem.
powers that be are involved.
Yeah, because that's something, Mario, where it's as easy as Instagram could just pay a percentage of whatever they're getting in from the ad revenue to the people that they know are their music is being essentially optioned and used as a temporary license or whatever you want to call it
Right.
in their stories and stuff like that. Instagram could just
Right.
be giving out, you know, pennies on the dollar every time an ad is bought, and because they know what reel is in there and everything. But I'm sure Instagram is probably like, you know, we also allow you to host your music on our platforms and everything like that at no
Mhm.
charge. So I'm sure there's some little clause somewhere in all their terms and services that are just like,
Right. Like
fuck
they
you,
have their
you get
own
no money. Like,
yeah, they have their own you know, deals with all these third party distributors already. But it's just another thing that labels could fuck people on, honestly. Like
yep,
they could be getting a percentage of every time that somebody uses your song for a reel, and they could just
yeah.
add that to the slave contract if they want to. So it's like
It
wouldn't
could
they
already
be
be happening and we wouldn't know, because that's probably the reality. Is if they are getting paid, the label would never be like, hey, we got this extra money from Instagram for you. Like,
yeah, I don't know. It was just something that was like I was like, wait a second, you know, like this is just the new commercial.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
modern car commercial, and it's like everybody can make one.
yep.
So how is there not some sort of compensation, or you know, you don't have to approve of you know, what if I hate this fucking barbecue place? What if I had a horrible experience there and they wanna, you know, use my track to sell some ribs, and I'm like, you didn't even fucking ask me, you know?
Yeah, blasting some Mario Cuomo and everybody gets food poisoning at the the ad shoot.
Yeah, hopefully. it's just like you know, you should be able to say yes or no, or make it free. Like maybe like I chose, oh, you know, if people want to use my music, I have it selected where they don't have to pay to use it on their story. But maybe somebody bigger like decides, hey, I want everybody to pay a little bit, if whether it's pennies or fractions of a penny or whatever the fuck it is. Like that artist should be able to decide if their music is going to be used on people's stories, if they want people to pay or not.
Yeah. The real music is tied into like Spotify too, right? Doesn't like Instagram doesn't even actually host all that.
Yeah,
I
it's
think it's
Spotify or like Apple Music.
yeah, because it's like I'm shocked there's not like a social media that's kind of tried to spearhead that. Like if any one of the big ones like that, like Instagram or anything, was like, hey, we're gonna start giving a small slice of the overall ad revenue to fucking music creators on here whose music are used in reels. I'm sure the, you know, rate for it would be dog shit. It'd be like, you know, every time there's a million times your song is used in a reel, you'll get like $1 or something insane. But I'm shocked there's no social media company that's like spearheaded that yet. Because like if you like integrate with Bandcamp and shit like that, places that actually seem to care about creatives and not just take every fucking cent they can get from them. But I think there's not like an incentive to do that. I guess it's easier to just rob creatives of their
People do
shit.
it for free, you know. I think again,
Yeah,
to get back to
it's
the
tough.
sort of lack of community, it's because our community is the culture at this point, and the culture is the product. So, you know, you're going to share a band that you like on Instagram, and that is the advertising for the band, you know, and you're not getting paid, and the band's probably not getting paid, you know, for that. And I don't see any incentive for anyone to give any extra money out when like people people's personality is based upon what they consume to a large extent. So you're given a tool to essentially express yourself, and the side effect of that is to sort of proliferate the media that you consume, you know. And I mean that's memes, that's um yeah, memes and stuff like that. And that's just where we are. We don't look to ourselves as saying like, oh, we are valuable in the process of this. We just use these apps, and you know, because we're addicted essentially. You know, I think it's the problem with being a creative in general, is that we like what we do so much that we do it for free. I wouldn't go, my job is waiting tables, you know, I would never do that for fun. I don't wake up and be like, oh man, I need to like blow off some steam, I need to go take some orders, you know what I mean? So when you're you know, it would be like gratifying is like selling someone a sandwich right now. But like I'll post, and yeah, it's extremely frustrating, especially if you ever come under scrutiny or bad press or whatever. I think I'm always like, well, I did this shit for you. I didn't have to do this stuff. I didn't have to put it out, but I enjoyed making it, and I know that you enjoy consuming it. So why am I not making any money essentially from doing that? You know, here or there I'll make a sale, but you know, it's rough for sure.
Yeah, it's
Um,
much more selfless than people give it credit for. That's for sure. I think people think that it's there's all these
they're like,
ulterior motives and
we don't want this person to have a platform. It's like, you know, to exist is like a platform. And like, again, I think, yeah, if we could build a community, there would be less of that in general, because we would have more of a solid foot to stand on, you know. But so much, if you're a creative, you're probably up in your head, you probably are not very social, you know. I mean, that's been the dynamic of my band, is that my little brother is the social person and I'm the person writing the music, and that's why it works, because I write the music and then he gets the people to the shows, because I don't have fucking friends, you know what I mean? Like
You need that, man.
I am just you know, contrarian, you know, and I just enjoy that, and I enjoy having a very high um level of like openness to things. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, this is this or this is that. I'm very open to suggestion, and it can be hard to define what I do at times, and you need people around you who can ground you and be like, no, this is all that's happening. You don't need to fly off into your anxiety, you know, imagination world. Because I think that if you just have a high imagination, you also have a very high propensity to think about everything that could go wrong, at any given point.
For sure.
Mentally procrastinate for fucking ever with that
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
Never pull the trigger on anything.
I'm fine
Yeah,
with pulling the trigger, but it becomes hard to turn my artistic output into a brand, and that's just generally what I've had trouble with, because I'll work on music for 3 weeks and then I'll be like, oh, I'm into painting again, and then I'll do that, and I'm like, it's hard to sell yourself when your day to day is changing and your product is changing day to day, because then it's harder to get. It's like, is he a musician? Is he a painter?
Your product is you. You're all these things.
Yeah, so that's what I'm just like.
Don't think of it like you're juggling a bunch of different plates, man. This is just who you are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And every time you're like,
but you have to. That's fine, but you have to find a way to express that in a succinct way that people could identify with.
That'll come with you in time, but I think that's also like the social media brain and things makes you think that.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I say, like, you got to look more inwardly at yourself. Like, unless like making it and making all that money is the most important thing in the world to you. Like, I did years of working shitty like 9-to-5 jobs and stuff. When I had the band going, we were playing shows every weekend. We're doing little mini tours around all over the place, like Friday, Saturday, Sundays if we could. And I was still working almost 60 hours in a movie theater. But if you want to do it, like I said earlier, you find that like half hour or whatever a week to do it. But if you start to like, it took me so long to do it too. Like, I'm not saying like I'm perfect. I still fuck up all the time, but it really is about like figuring out what it is about these things you do that is so important to you. And if that's not money or whatever, and it really is just the act of and the process of, you have to start like eliminating those other things in your life. And sometimes those are like interpersonal relationships with people. Sometimes it's just like a hobby you do on the side and stuff like that. Not completely eliminate them, but maybe you have to downsize the amount of time you put into it. You keep doing your thing. If you're about being online and stuff like that, keep posting more of you doing your thing. If you really are trying to build a brand and stuff like that, it's not impossible to do, but there's also tons of little things you can be doing to build on that, and utilizing digital things. Like advertising and shit like that. There's lots of like micro advertising through social media and shit like that you can do now, but that is like that's a huge discussion. But you really got to figure out, and a lot of like introspection of like what it is that's important to you. I did tons of that recently, and part of it came from I lost a very dear family member recently, and he was always just a dude forever in my corner. No matter what I was doing, he supported everything that I did, and it was like really fucking rough for me. But that just like made me double down on all of this. Like, I got to cut out everything that's not important to me. I got fired by my publisher, and it like completely pulled the rug out from under me, because I considered like the dude a friend in all this. I took it super personally. And it was like, it wasn't personal. It was a business decision. I was acting ridiculous about it, but I had built up all these ideas in my head of what I needed to be, and I wasn't like being anything.
Yeah.
And that sounds like stupid, like crystal hippie bullshit, but I had like become at least efficient enough at what I was doing that I could do it almost without thought. I could do it fucking drunk out of my mind all day long and still get it done, still have people loving my stuff, still be getting the clicks and everything like that. And I still felt fucking empty and like I wasn't achieving anything. So it's like, I don't know what that says about me, but that's again, like, that's why you have to and you constantly do this. This isn't like one day I reflected on all the dumb shit I wasted my
Yeah.
time with and it all clicked and I figured it out. I do this daily and fucking weekly. It's the kind of shit I'm thinking about when I'm lifting all day. There's days where I'm like, why am I fucking doing this? Like, you have to reaffirm yourself and stuff. But as you start to figure it out more and more, it'll get easier and easier. And like, I love Dakota the painter, and I love Dakota the musician, and he'll soon be an actor as well. I think you're wildly successful in what you do, but you need
The
to figure out what.
Renaissance.
Yeah, you need to figure out what success means to you, man, and that'll.
And that's been the issue, man, because I have this fucking thing in the back of my head that it's not going to work out, and we talk about it in therapy all the time. It's like, what is success? And then I'll say some shit like being on a yacht with some bad bitch and some fucking bubbly, and it's like, it's about building the daily routine. But I got my world out. I look out in the world and it seems so bleak, and I just like have a lot. I'm like, they're never gonna like me. If they really see who I am, they're really gonna dislike me. And it's become a very limiting thought process, and I'm really trying to figure out how to get around it, because I mean, I was having dinner with my friend and he's like, you have a lot of these very limiting beliefs about yourself. And I took that and I internalized it, and then I looked out at the world and I said, oh my God, everyone is like this in a way. Everyone is like what is keeping this like ex-con in the back of this restaurant like flipping burgers? You know what I mean? Like, how is that enough for them? Do they feel like they want more? Why? Like, my thought is, I'm gonna lose it all, right? And it's like, that is true because I'm gonna die one day, but I can't quite like put those two things together. So the fear of like gaining and then losing is what I'm constantly fighting, even though it's better probably to gain and lose than to never try and just keep what you have currently,
For sure.
Because I'm afraid of more pain, and you think more work's going to be more pain, and that's true. But the thing is that like, if I get in my flow state, if I'm writing a song, I write a lot of the music just at the end of the night, at like 2 a.m. I'll be out smoking a cigarette and I'll get a little phrase in my head and I'll work out that song, and the time flows. It's everything in between that becomes really hard, like booking shows and like promotion and looking at. It's just like, if only I could just make it. But then again, that's where the money is. It's from that shit that no one wants to deal with.
All that stuff always seems less pure. It really does. Like, like you could get, I don't know, even getting like the best show or whatever it is, playing with somebody that you really like, there's no like fucking magic spark like when you feel like you're on to something, like musically, or like you've just recorded something that like you're super proud of. Like that's a whole different fucking brand of magic, and like all that other stuff that you have to do is, it's never going to feel like that. But that's what that is, and that's why the creation itself is this whole different thing that like you're willing to put up with all that other bullshit for, because it's such a extremely different experience that is so that you'll just be fucking lusting over forever.
Yeah, I'm trying to cultivate gratitude, because again, that's your antidote for the lust, is to be happy with what you have right now, and it's hard to hold that and also strive for more at the same time. But it's been weeks, I've just been like, I'm so unhappy, I feel so unfulfilled. But then I can look back and I can see how, I was like a drunk 3 years ago, like fucking overweight, playing on the piano with nothing. And now I've built an ability to write songs, and I've learned how to paint in the last 4 years or so. And like, I don't see that stuff enough. I'm very focused on what I haven't done yet. And it's hard for me to have the gratitude for the things I have experienced, which have been good,
Right.
You got to slow down and appreciate the progress, man. That's the thing.
I know.
When you're living in it day to day, it seems so much slower.
I'm the Southern boy who doesn't want to be in the South. It's just like, my coworkers. A lot of you just, hey, honey, how you doing today? Like, I want to kill myself.
Do you not see the gun in my mouth?
Like, they'll tell me that I have two faces at work, and one is like, and the other, when I go up to the table, goes, hey guys, how we doing? And as soon as I turn around and walk away, it goes back to that.
Damn.
So like, I'm trying to have that be a real smile. You know what I mean?
To find your joy, Dakota.
Yeah. Well, you still have a lot of work,
I'm just sad and emotional.
you still have a lot of stuff that you've made that like you haven't let live yet. So I wouldn't get too hung up on it until that's all put into the world, and you've people have the option. Yeah, people have the option of like it's able to affect somebody. If it's not all out there yet, then you can't really you just can't think about it too much until then.
Yeah, someone read my cards a few years ago, and or did my astral chart, and that was a big theme, which was like, you're going to just sort of, it's the overnight success thing, essentially, is what he was talking about. It was just that you're going to work really hard for a long time, and then one day it's all going to like be there. So, we'll see what that rise to power looks like.
You're building a brick house. A brick house with no ceiling.
That's
the
walls.
thing too. Is
right
like
now it's just 4 walls.
That's the best though. In a creative
roof,
world,
though.
you need a place you can lock yourself in, away from everything, or away from everything except the right components for whatever creative thing you're doing. But like Mario was saying about that, like, we played with a ton of bands that like I absolutely love the shit out of, like grew up listening to all their music, got to open for them, got to like write what would be considered a co-headlining spot now. Like, we played like my hometown venue, the Webster Theater out in Hartford. That's like, I think only like a 600 or 700 max capacity. We had fucking line out the door, place completely sold out. Got to play the headlining slot on this big fucking music festival they had there back in the day. And it was like, all right, I've now gotten this high, but I still haven't floated up and hit the ceiling. And it's because like, if you're doing creative things right that you actually love, there isn't any ceiling with shit like that. But the shit you don't enjoy and the shit that you just need to do to get by and everything, like your job and everything like that, there's a very fucking low ceiling. That's why you feel cramped there. There's nowhere to ascend above to or anything like that. And especially when you have I've worked tons of mom and pop restaurants, working in the kitchen and shit like that. There's no moving on up to management or even anything like that in it. You're going to be that guy, and maybe they'll pay you a little bit better every couple of years because you bust your ass. But there is like a literal ceiling on those kinds of jobs too. And that's why it's like, you got to figure out, is this enough money for me to sustain myself and live comfortably? And like eat the food I want to eat, live in a place that I feel comfortable living in, and still have X amount of time a week to do what it is I like doing. And then you figure out how much, there's like a threshold with that where you figure out how much time you need to allot a week or a day to the shit you like doing, where you finally start to feel like there's a tipping point there and you're actualizing more joy in your life than you are misery. And I'm like, this is coming from a dude who has gotten very close to not being in existence anymore.
Sure.
I've had some dark times in my life, but like I turned that all around, and I don't even think I could say like I definitely get depressed here and there every once in a while now, but I suffered from severe depression for years of my life because I wasn't doing anything for myself. And I had this idea in my head that just like having a good work ethic and putting in those hours, like something would come to me eventually, and that I didn't have to like actually put something of myself into a creation and like get it out into the world to actually feel like I was doing anything. I was making good money and stacking cash before I had a girlfriend or anything. And by like society's standards, had most of my shit figured out and was still a functioning drug addict and alcoholic and had all of these side problems. So it's like, I have the experience of seeing like no one has it figured out, and I've been the clean cut fucking 9 to 5 idiot and stuff like that. I've done it all, and it all leads back to just like doing something that is so like selfishly, wholeheartedly for you, because it's that thing that you feel you need to fucking do, or you like can't exist properly and feel sane or like good.
Yeah.
Like being mentally unhealthy is just as unhealthy as being physically unhealthy. Like it's almost worse in some cases. And if you're not fucking happy with yourself in your own headspace, you have nowhere to escape from that. Like that is the last fucking bastion, man. So like that's what I had to do. You have to get all that shit clear first before you can start taking on everything else. But you'll realize, like I said, as you start to whittle down the little things, for some people it's like, I'm going to stop picking up extra shifts all the time. That was my thing at work, was I was like, I won't feel sad and depressed if I'm working constantly, because I won't have time to think about it. So I'll just pick up all these extra hours and everything. And you realize, is the money isn't actually that much better. It doesn't add anything to my life. I'm going to, stop doing that for a couple of weeks and see how I feel just not picking up extra shifts, working a regular schedule, and having time for myself again. Like, as long as your thing for yourself isn't going out and strangling hookers, like it's a net positive across the board. Like
that
you
is
just
what
find,
it is, though.
Yeah. Okay. And done. Yeah. It really is, though. Like you gotta just find something that is completely unadulterated and for you, even if it's the dumbest thing in the world. And you don't even necessarily need to put it out there. But that's why I say you're already on the path, man. You post all your fucking rad paintings and stuff all the time. I would have had no fucking idea you've only been painting for 4 years. I've been painting my entire goddamn life, and you're light years beyond me.
I've had a lot of really cool people come into my life who are better at painting than I am, and they've been nice enough to kind of critique my work and help me see things in the images that I'm learning to replicate better, so.
And I think you're open to.
Did you ever sell the one of Marilyn Manson and Kanye all at the Donda?
No, it's still sitting there.
Dude, I might have to buy that from you, because that's seriously a sick moment in time. I fucking I love
that's
that
cool.
one.
You post like at least one a month where I'm like, I need to not buy this right now.
You got that, and that's how I met Lores too. I sent him a print of the one of the Unabomber paintings I did, and I was like, hey, what's your address? And I just sent it to him, and it's just like, hey, I like your stuff. And it's been really cool to just build community just through the images, and like meet people that way, and just kind of create my own visual language with that. So I appreciate the kind words.
That's also you sharing yourself unadulterated. That's pure Dakota, man. That's what you need to be doing all the time. You need to figure out how to freebase that shit constantly.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. That's why I'm like, that's why a community like this is great. We gotta sustain it online, obviously, because that's the reality of everybody living in all different places. But then you actually want to get together when there's a chance to physically meet up and make some shit happen. Like that's what cripples me now, is the like fear of missing out. When I see like a couple of dudes posting like everybody's in town, I'm like, god damn, I want to be there. Like I'm hoping, like, I want to figure out fucking being able to afford like a second house in Connecticut in the next couple of years, so I could just be like, let's get 10 dudes out here for the next writers summit and just fucking get down. Be like, tell my girlfriend I'm going to the dude house for the week and fucking just make shit happen. Just the gayest retreat on paper, but
happy Pride, everybody.
Yeah, Pride Month, baby. We're starting a dude house.
Get a dude house. Get some dudes.
It's not what you think. It's super creative.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
hey,
just...
I think I'll be up in New York in July, because they are doing a American Bulgaria drop party. I don't know if y'all are aware of this. Let me see if I have it.
I don't know. I don't know much about it. Is it just a zine?
It's beautiful. Ryan Simone does it, and I think he self-published it. This is volume 1, but it's thick.
Oh, that looks
It's
fucking
laminated,
sick.
and it's filled. Let me just read.
That's legit.
Okay, the first issue of American Bulgaria magazine is almost exclusively filled with interviews. He kind of says what he's doing here. The editor's letters, the move I'm seeing from many of my fellow millennials who are struggling with the fact of having reached the advanced age of 30 without slouching off their unrequited teenage dreams and media ambitions is to start an independent print magazine. So he talks about being kind of counterculture, but it's beautiful. It's glossy. A lot of the interviews look great.
Can you buy it online?
Yeah, so you can buy it online, and you can pre-order issue 2, which I am going to be in. And he's
Word.
trying to, so that'll be on American Bulgaria. And it's really beautiful, honestly. And there's some really good interviews. This one has Jack from the Perfume Nationalist in it. It has Adam Lear. Is that how you say his name? I think. Gold Pony. He's a different name in this one, I think. Anyway, it's Gold Pony.
Word.
Okay. But keep a lookout for that. But if I'm up in New York in July, you should totally come through, because I think they're having a issue release party, maybe with a play reading or something. But what happened?
That sounds pretty dope.
Right. Dip back into the old publishing world.
Yeah.
Where I hate everyone.
Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I think we're
Sick.
about an hour here.
Good stuff.
So we really appreciate you being on, Spencer.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for coming, dude.
You guys having me on.
Very nice words. Very good time.
Yeah, I feel better,
talk
honestly. I mean, I'm playing a show tomorrow, so I needed
man.
I needed a little pep talk.
Oh, dude, it'll be a great time. That's what I mean. Like, you can't think of it like a death sentence or anything like that. I know, like, anxiety is a cruel mistress and all that. It's been a death
sentence for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, man, you're killing it, and I love seeing all the videos and posts of you guys. Like, it makes me like miss. I think I said something about it the other day on my Instagram story. Like, I miss playing shows so much, and seeing posts from you guys, I'm like, God damn it, man. But I'm like a big idiot who sings and screams. Like, I wasn't playing instruments or anything like that. So it's not like I can pick up a guitar and do it all. And I just got myself a guitar to start playing again, and immediately had everybody hitting me up like, you want to act in this and be in this and this. So I keep getting blindsided by creative shit. So
I'm
happy to live vicariously through you two.
Sick. Well, we'll keep doing it, dude. We'll keep doing it.
Hell yeah. I'll keep supporting it.
All right, guys, this has been Pizza Time. Thank you for listening. Please reshare if you enjoyed, and we will see y'all next time.
See ya.
All right.